Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Adeptus Ridiculous podcast. My name is DK Diamantes. His name is Ricky. You know why you're here. Let's get down to it. But before we do, if you enjoyed today's episode and maybe you want to support the podcast, head over to patreon.com/Adeptus Ridiculous, where you can get access to the Discord, bloopers if they happen. $15 tier gets you access to all of our posters in their digital form. You should check it out. They're great. It's amazing. Patreon.com/Adeptus Ridiculous. Wow, I just knocked over everything on my desk doing that because I got very hyped about all of the savings on Patreon. Haha, great. Ricky, how's it going, man?
Holy moly.
Hey, man. It's very funny that the first screw-up of the episode was you and not me, despite the fact that I am currently in the Pacific Northwest finding out who killed Laura Palmer.
Ooh, I know.
You do. I actually found out this weekend. Me and my sister were doing the Twin Peaks tour, and so we were going to the diner. We're staying at the Salish Lodge, which is the lodge with the waterfall,
Nice.
and all the fun stuff. And it's
Wait, what? Hey.
Hell yeah. So is today's episode on Twin Peaks?
Yeah.
honestly a Twin Peaks 40K style thing would go super hard. Just a little wacky woo-ha detective and the weirdo people in the town solving a murder. That'd be great stuff. Except instead of a murder, it's a demonic incursion.
Yeah,
Because
I
why
was
the
gonna
hell
say,
not?
like, there's Warp Storm just happens to show up, and it's all warp shenanigans, and it could be very Twin Peaks-esque. Yeah,
I've never
I'm
seen
actually
Twin
surprised
Peaks.
that Warhammer doesn't do more like small town style stuff, because that, like, normally we always just talk about hive cities, but there are so many worlds. There are clearly like waste out of in the middle of nowhere type places. And so I'm kind of surprised we don't like go into that a bit more. It'd be kind of fun.
yeah, agreed. I wouldn't like that.
Well, anyway, DK. So I am doing this from the Salish Lodge, and I am doing all my microphone stuff from there. So I may sound a little funky. That's a future shy
Ouch.
problem.
Yeah,
But
good luck.
luckily for us, today's episode probably actually isn't going to be too long. It's it's its own little update episode. We are continuing some of our prior stories. And so your little mystery quote goes as follows. It is a large and crooked channel of space, light years across and many more in length, that stretches from the Vigilus system in the galactic northeast to the Sanguis system in the southwest. Within its bounds are numerous planetary systems, piratical haunts, whatever, yarg, Xenos enclaves, and isolated deep void station networks. Where could we possibly be discussing?
Is this what's going on near Bad Dab and the War of Texas?
No. Eraserhead, I believe to be my most spiritual film. Speak on that. No.
Shoot. I feel like we did just talk about this too.
Detroit become broke.
I can't
board.
remember, honestly. My mind is stuck on Bad Dab, taxes, and stuff. That's not the stretch we were literally just talking about. And-
No. It's I'll just give it to you. This is part 3 of the Nachmund Gauntlet. The Sigma Herald World Claimer.
Yeah. As soon as you said Nachman Gauntlet, I was like, yep, that's the one. I wouldn't have gotten it. What a shame.
Yep. It is the Nachmund subsector. It is the entire, the teensy tiny little goatsy that we have.
Knockman.
Holy crap.
I know a Knockman in my
That was a
tabletop
big truck.
RPG
They're
game.
coming for you, Bricky. Get out of there,
They are.
man. Get out of there.
It's all right. Don't you worry. It is a future shy problem.
Definitely all future shy problems, man. The goat, if you would.
Sigma World Claimer, the Nachmund Gauntlet Part 3, capital W World Claimer. So there has been another one of those books that have come out relatively recently. And in doing so, and because of this, we're back to talking about the new stuff happening in space.
Hell yeah. I love Harry World Claimer.
Harold.
He's Harry.
Harold World Claimer.
Good old
Sad.
Harold World Claimer.
Mm-hmm. He's the guy, the man, the mention.
He is him, sure.
Bricky never mentioned, but Harry is actually Night Lord. Originally, he's part of the Black Legion, but I believe he is originally a Night Lord, as he tends to be a dude who loves a lot of fear and causing problems. Yeah. He's the Herald of the Apocalypse.
I don't know why, but whenever I think of Raptors in general, with like their big jump pack and everything, I always think Night Lords.
Yeah, that's kind of their shtick.
Yeah.
Honestly. So that makes total sense.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so a little bit of an introduction. So obviously, with the fall of Cadia and the splitting of the galaxy, the Imperium has been generally struggling when it comes to getting their foothold back. Guilliman is obviously doing his very best with the Indominus Crusade, and, you know, the slow bringing in of everyone else from the other side, despite the big rift in the galaxy. Despite that, Chaos tends to have the Imperium basically where they want them to be. Like, there is no other faction that it emphasizes the general carnage and division that the Imperium can cause, right? Mm-hmm. The traitors need this split in the galaxy to stay in place, and the more division they create, it only adds to the numbers of chaos.
Yeah, I was going to say they need the literal division of the Cicatrix Maledictum, Tihi, literally dividing them in half.
And just like having this slice in the galaxy makes it very good because then more people follow the chaos and then they get more numbers, even though they fight each other. But so this is another reason why the Nockman Gauntlet has been such an abundant setting for all the conflicts, because it is not only a place that is one of the few ways to get in and out of the galaxy because of the giant Cicatrix Maledictum, but it's a really good way to kind of establish a little bit of a zone, a sort of like end game conflict area. You know, the newest Crusade book is simply titled Nockman Gauntlet. That's literally, it's not like, Warzone Nockman or whatever. It's just called Nockman Gauntlet.
Oh man, if I had been following anything about the new books, this would have been such an easy quote to get. God damn it.
That's all right. This is like not. You might go like, brand new codex and lore for stuff, but like this is the ongoing world of 40K. It's like not something that everyone jumps the bit for.
Probably not something I would jump for either, because I try to stay stupid. Because
of course, built stupid.
Yeah, I'm built different, baby.
But to go along with that, and it should go without saying, we do have 2 more previous episodes on the Nockman Gauntlet. Highly recommend you watch those first to get antiquated. Not antiquated. What's the other word?
Caught up? Refreshed?
Yeah. I'm losing it.
Antiquated would be like, hey, those videos are antiquated. They're so old. They're antiques.
I think it's just acquainted. Yeah, acquainted.
Yeah.
Had a little bit of a brain fart. That's okay. Word hard. If you want to get acquainted with all of the Nockman stuff, generally a little bit of a recap and all that type of jazz, and to see what the heck's going on and how Sigma World Claimer is currently doing what he's doing. Also, there's a lot about the planet Vigilus and things like that. But we should go back and kind of double back a little bit to figure out the main players going on here, which is, of course, the Rift. There's the Gauntlet, Sanguia Terra, and also dubbed simply the Horrors.
Excuse me.
As you do when you're that close to the Eye of Terror, the Cicatrix Maledictum, the center of all evil. Yeah.
So this clearly does not need to be repeated, but the Cicatrix, I was going to say the Cicatrix Maledictum is pretty bad for business, but one would argue that depending on what business you're in, baby, it can be damn good for business.
I was going to say, if you're in the chaos business, business is a booming.
Business is booming. And so through that, and, obviously making sure that everyone realizes how important the Cicatrix Maledictum is through the destruction of Cadia, obviously, but it was the massive destruction of worlds across worlds in the galaxy, slicing everything in two, which also means that those on the Imperium crap, is Nihilus the other side? I always get those confused. Nihilus is basically blocked off from like the Astronomicon for the most part, and it's become a huge problem.
Every time I think Nihilus, all I hear is that
Saren.
Yep.
Nihilus.
Nihilus. Shoots him in the back of the head. All you hear is the gunshot in the distance. Love me.
Spoiler alert for a 17-year-old game.
Nihilus dies in the beginning. How could you do this, TK?
Gasp.
The game's been ruined for me.
Though over the course of the 10,000 years, Abaddon has been strategically destroying worlds full of Blackstone, so that when Cadia fell, it would then cause a domino effect, causing the galaxy to be cut in half. Cadia was the final bit, and that was where everything was crazy.
If you got an itch, you could...
However, of course, Abaddon wasn't fully successful across the board, and that is where the Nockman Gauntlet comes into play. So, as we talked about before, this giant rift in the galaxy, there are basically two spots that you can really go through without major problems. And one of them is the Nockman Gauntlet. It is the most well-known way to pass from Imperium Sanctus to Imperium Nihilus, because even though we are a sci-fi space world, you do need to travel in a more natural way.
Yeah.
Right,
You
because
can't just do warp jumps everywhere.
Right, and like you don't have fast and light travel in the real sense, so you have to take warp jumps, and this is a gigantic rift in the galaxy that stops you from taking warp jumps and etc.
Mm-hmm.
So, because of this, it becomes a very strategic location, and it exists near the remains of Cadia, and therefore is located a bit closer to Terra as well. The bookends of the Gauntlet are two planets that are very rich in Blackstone: Sangua Terra. Sangua, Sangua Terra, and Vigilus. And because those two planets are very rich in Blackstone, which we are aware has an anti or positive polarization effect with the warp, this will create a situation where, thankfully, this little slice in the galaxy is currently usable to traverse.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and it's like covered in like Blackstone too, right? So that should help a little bit.
Well, that is why it is currently available to
okay.
traverse, is because of the Blackstone deposits.
Right.
Now, obviously, the planet of Vigilus, you may remember, I think the last book, or the book before that, was like Vigilus Burns, or something like that. That planet has the short end of the stick due to the fact that it's the one on the other side of the gauntlet, meaning it's pretty much on its own in terms of defense, where Sangua Terra has the backing of basically the entire Imperium. So if you look at the map, Sangua Terra is on the left side and Vigilus is on the right.
Yeah,
and the right is bad.
I was going to say not great to be on Vigilus then. No wonder Vigilus burns.
No, yeah, Vigilus is having a tough time because all support to Vigilus has to come through the tiny little itty-bitty goatsy that's going between the two of them.
Right.
So, because of this, the issue, though, is that the existence of both planets is what keeps the rift open. You need both. It is a link because of the deposits of Blackstone and the anti-polarization of that. If you do not have both, you lose the link, which is bad.
So Vigilus super important, like, because that's the hard one to defend. That's the one that's having the roughest time. If you lose that and you lose the Blackstone there, it closes up and no mas.
Yes. Now, it would possibly close the rift permanently. There is another way to cross Sigurus Maledictum. It was apparently found by a rogue trader. This is honestly one of the best examples of why rogue traders are important, because they are explorators, and this person found it. They found another way to pass called the Adelan Gate, but it's not very stable at all, and it being the only way through the rift would be very bad.
Yeah, you usually want stable passage through something like that. You don't want to get all clever and funky and not have a guaranteed route through, literal hell.
Right. So, naturally, the big defensive network we talked about last time was something called the Sanctus Wall.
Yeah.
There's a series of plants and fortifications kind of close to the Nockman Gauntlet, and the focus of the wall is incredibly important to the Imperium because they are basically pulling all stops to keep it fortified. Because, of course, they need to or else.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in order to bolster up the world in the Sanctus Wall, the planets, just like a bit back from the wall, have been almost entirely stripped of all resources possible and brought to the front lines to make it more defensive.
You know
The Imperium has also struck up accords with the Kin Leagues of Voton at this time, and the leagues have promised to aid the Imperium should they be invaded. Because while the Kin are known for being grumpy douchebags at times, they also understand that it would really, really suck if they could only travel through this part as well.
Yeah. As long as the Imperium doesn't start asking questions about their stuff.
Yes, which they definitely will.
Of course. The Imperium thinks that it rules
they definitely
all
will,
humanity.
But,
they see these dickheads as
now, due to the
abhumans,
planet's
aka
proximity to the
humanity,
rift,
so,
the attempts to fortify it have been extremely difficult. Tons of instances where over-fortified worlds will experience the taint of chaos. Drukhari have been constant right now because they're opportunists.
Actually crazy that.
Of course, naturally, there are orcs literally everywhere. And on top, because there's always orcs.
There's always orcs. When won't an orc take an opportunity for a good crumpin', right?
On top of this, everyone has been relocated so excessively because of this wall, where the amount of fear in these planets have caused revolts. My bad. Civilian revolts, which means
two
that
very different sides of the coin.
Yes, negative results for civilian results.
Yeah.
But therefore, inquisitorial forces have been working overtime with pro-Imperium propaganda and blasting auto hymnals at the problem planets to avoid a full revolution. Or worse, chaos overthrowing the planet due to internal corruption.
Mm-hmm. Auto hymnals is quite the word.
Auto hymnals, right?
Yeah. Not what I was expecting. I mean, I guess that's something you should expect to hear in 40K, right? Just blast those hymns as loud as you can. That'll drive chaos off.
So the setting of this book in particular takes place on Sangua Terra. And as you can imagine, things are not going super well, because despite it being right with the Warp Stone and it's literally serving as the last bastion keeping the gauntlet open and the dead center linchpin for the Sanctus Wall, it is still utterly surrounded by the warp.
Yeah,
and though it allows a path to be open, it is not exempt from the influence of the warp. So while things were going very south over in Vigilus, Sangua, or say the system or say the system of Sanguia is what it's called, hence why it's Sangua Terra, suffered a massive warp incursion dubbed the Sanguis Flare and caused the vast majority of the planet to turn demonic. And it even turned Sigil, which is called Sangua Terra's moon, into a demon world.
Yikes. That's not great. That's not great when the well-fortified one gets hit with the demon incursion and becomes demon world. That's don't love that.
Sorry, sniff.
How dare you? How dare you ruin the podcast that way?
Yeah, I sniff. I smell heresy.
So yeah, a lot of it going around.
Me when I'm a Bretonnian soldier.
Also, demon.
Or say the system of Sanguia is what it's called, hence why it's Sangua Terra, suffered a massive warp incursion dubbed the Sanguis Flare and caused the vast majority of the planet to turn demonic.
Not good.
And it even turned Sigil, which is Sangua Terra's moon, into a demon world.
Yikes. That's not great. That's not great when the well fortified one gets hit with a demon incursion and becomes demon world. That's
pretty bad.
Don't love that.
Sorry, sniff.
How dare you? How
Stop,
dare
please.
you ruin the podcast?
Said it already, but this is like the type of planet you would.
Yeah, I
it has to
sniff.
have
I smell heresy.
Oh yeah, that's right.
A lot of it going around.
Me when I'm a Bretonnian soldier.
I forgot.
Or will the death of Sanguiterra occur and crush the Nockman Gauntlet?
Yeah,
that's the set of the stage.
Okay. Basically, they need it so they can get through this
some quick
really
preludes.
bad spot.
Chaos side. Harkin World Claimer is currently double W massive dub man. He just took out the Jestine system and the Bastion world of Nova Vor and is preparing for his next move. While working on this, Harkin is contacted by Abaddon, who asks him of his progress.
Oh.
And then after informing him of the upcoming Google Calendar schedule, Abaddon asks him, or tells him that he is gearing up for a fully fledged attack on Vigilus and is very confident it'll be taken by him soon. As a means of encouragement, encouragement to Harkin, Abaddon gives him a very special goal and provides him with an even more special gift. But more on that later.
Okay.
Also, love those images of the three main chaos folk. You have, of course, the Harkin World Claimer, the Chain Flayer, and Davar's Talon. Lovely.
Yeah, that's a great picture of him too. Like,
yeah, he's cool, dude.
Just wait for the flash. Is it on yet? Ah.
The Imperium side, after the nightmare of a battle on Vigilus, the northern end of the gauntlet stands relatively alone, but is still somewhat secured under the presumption that Abaddon has moved on and left it to be ravaged by the horrors of the warp, because Vigilus was beaten to shit. Though supplies and aid are still trickling into the gauntlet to Vigilus, the priorities of the Imperium have shifted more to the Sanctus Wall and the southern end of the gauntlet to reinforce the planets that form it. Specifically doing anything and everything possible to make sure that the planet of Sanguiterra still stands. Obviously, the efforts to reinforce the wall come to a head when World Claimer's forces, potentially preparing for a major assault, make their way into that section of the Imperium. So at this point, the Imperium is simply going to need to show their hand somehow.
Yeah, you kind of need all hands on deck to make sure this place doesn't fall. You cannot lose it.
Great. So, speaking of the death of a planet, it was mentioned earlier, but Harkin was granted a bit of a gift from Abaddon. Here is the quote. Harkin felt some tremendous presence force its way into proximity, sweeping aside thoughts of Vigilus burning. Behind him, signal indicators flashed for his attention. Abaddon lifted his hand, staring hard at Harkin. In the spoiler's giant palm hovered the representation of a void ship. Harkin could not see details, but its silhouette was unmistakable. It was monstrous, a manifestation of the will to conquer the galaxy at any cost. Quote, "You will shatter the spirit of the Gorendal subsector. You will break their defenses. You will seize Sanguiterra and make it a staging point for conquest. You will claim it in my name." Beyond the sealed sanctum, the planet killer emerged from the warp.
Whoa.
So,
right. Okay. Let's go.
So Abaddon is known, of course, for utilizing the vengeful spirit as the main capacity nowadays, but it is a symbol of the War Master. But he has another ship up his sleeve. Now, the origin of this ship is a bit contradictory and muddled. On one hand, it is found to be a complete ancient abandoned shipyard in the Eye of Terror. Some people believe that it is built entirely from scratch by the Dark Mechanicus, but regardless of its origin, its first emergence was in the 12th Black Crusade, or known as the Gothic War. There are some photos of the ship right there.
It's so cool. Like the
it is so
top-down view. Oh my god, that's so... The Armageddon gun projection barrels, that is like a mech ship design that I am here for. Oh,
it is
God.
It is, yes. So you may have seen it from back when in Battlefleet, Battlefleet Galactica. No, what the hell is it called? Battlefleet Gothic. There it is next to the Blackstone Fortress. So you can tell it is not particularly small.
It's called a planet. It's called the Planet Killer. This thing should be justifiably massive.
Yes, absolutely. So the ship itself is marred with impossibilities. For example, it has a very light and minimal crew, despite its size. It was christened with a ritual done by Abaddon's most senior advisor, a former Thousand Sun sorcerer. And in this ritual, he bound demons to the hull of the ship itself, which allows it to operate at full optimal power without the need of anything more than a skeleton crew. And because of its extreme warp taint, it is unlike any ship on Imperial record, and the AdMech are uncertain how it could have been constructed or can function anywhere outside of the warp. Of course, as you can quite obviously tell, the biggest impossibility of the ship comes from the form of the Armageddon gun. It is a weapon very much like the Death Star, where it is a massive beam that is quite literally a planet killer. And it says, within the planet killer central cavity, we could take a massive power surge. Energy crackled from a number of ports on the hull. Then with a blast that blotted the sun from our scanners, it opened fire. The beam lasted for about half an hour. The Emperor knows how they could generate such energy, linked to the planetary surveyors to see what was happening on its surface, and that the energy bolt bored its way through miles of the planet's crust and seared through the mantle beneath. As the attack finished, the magma surged forth from its continent-sized wound, breaking apart the planet from within. As the seas boiled into the skies, the ice caps melted, and whole continents sunk beneath the tidal waves. With an unimaginable release of energy, the planet was blown out of her natural orbit and flipped over on her axis. I guess nobody was alive then, but if they were, they did not last long. Like a rations pack crushed in your fist, it just crumpled in on itself and broke apart into thousands of fragments. 14 billion people dead in an hour.
Wow. That's a lot to unpack. Wow, that's very cool though.
I guess Shai says that the Planet Killer and Gothic War was something she really liked. And at one point, they randomly was like, oh, it was destroyed off screen. Don't worry about it. But now it's been retconned and brought back.
Hell yeah. And also, did I hear you say that the Armageddon gun lasts for half an hour? The beam just stayed there for a full half hour. Just, yeah, no worries. Don't worry about how he powered it. It's chaos nonsense. Half an hour beam?
Pretty much. He just, fires for half an hour and then bores through the planet and then blows it up.
Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, brother. Now, the Planet Killer obviously is a terrifying presence, but the biggest issue with the ship, obviously, is that it is comically slow. Like the steamroller from Austin Powers. It is ultimately something that is very avoidable, but as is a chaos ship, it can appear kind of out of nowhere, and if you can see the ship, it's probably too late.
Yeah.
So, with this, Abaddon basically is like, hey man, here you go. Have fun with this.
Oh man, and I bet old Harold does some good work with that.
Well, so let's find out. Obviously, we have our key combatants. We have known to love Mr. Harkin World Claimer himself, but there is some other folks as well. You have Setherin Nethar, the Chain Flayer, who is a warlord of the Night Lords and brings along his warband of the Fear Rakers. Classic.
Of course.
Yep. Classic duck gift, sure.
You gotta need some.
And then you have Torian Commodar, Devar's Talim, which is the Renegade House Mandragore, if you remember them. If you remember Mandragore, the Chaos Knights.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Including their heir, Countess Calignis, which was sent by the High Queen because she doesn't quite trust Torian, but whatever, it's on board.
Yeah, it's fine.
For the Imperium side, we have Junith Yaruta of the Blazing Heart. Junith is a character I run on the tabletop quite often. She is a sister of battle Canoness Superior, commands the Order of the Aramarda Lady, and has blazed quite the pre-battle path to establish a foothold of the sororitas presence on Sangua Terra. Sanguia, whatever.
Yep.
Then you have Arvin Nardreth, Master of the Third, which is the third battle company of the Guardians of the Covenant, which is a successor chapter to the Dark Angels. He is the one flying around. Junith is the one flying around on the funny pulpit. Yeah, the little funny bird pulpit.
Oh, that's her. Okay. I was like, oh, you run this. I was like, oh, which? And I was trying to remember which one it was. Yeah, that's the mini that I kind of sort of hated. I don't want to say hated, but I wasn't like a huge fan of it.
I've grown to love it personally, but I do think it is goofy.
Yeah.
And so that's the highest ranking Space Marine present at the conflict, which is Arvin Nardreth. And then you have Erasmus Cartavolnus, Ordo Malleus Inquisitor, a returning character during the battles of the Gauntlet. If you remember, Cartavolnus managed somehow to get from Vigilus to Sangua Terra without being detected, which God knows why, perfume department, something like that. But arriving on Sangua Terra, he was appalled at how unprepared the defenses were and almost single-handedly worked to regain control of several spaceports and provide aid to Yaruta when she landed. Now, if I am unmistaken, because it actually has been a little bit of time myself, I believe Erasmus Cartavolnus has the lovely model where he's stabbing the book.
Hell yeah.
He does. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is the gentleman who was like, everyone work harder or you'll have to learn about the lovely hospitality of the Inquisition.
Oh, that was him. Okay.
I believe that was him. And that's when they all were like, oh my God. And they all started working harder.
Yeah. Also, is there a reason why, like, the Imperium hasn't just uberly fortified this area? Like, I mean, obviously you can't do much with the other side because it's, you know, on the other side of the Cicatrix Maledictum, but wouldn't you want to just, like, stock up a lot of Space Marine chapters here and make sure that, like, you could rally the defenses here or push through and take back Vigilus or something? Like, because it seems like there's not a huge Space Marine presence here, right?
So the funny thing about that question, and it's one of those things I've had to learn how to answer for a lot of people, is that honestly, it's like pick one. Okay, answer one. There is a enormous orc wall on the bottom right-hand side of the galaxy, like 4 months travel away. And if you don't stop that wall, everything dies. Like Gazkul's doing something.
True.
Part two, Hive Fleet Behemoth is like destroying 17 systems, and you've got to do something to stop it. Part three, the parchment paper warning in the High Lords of Terra's like halls of finance and administration was lost because someone tripped and fell. There are a
lot of fires to put out.
Warp storm happened, and all of your communications are not going out. Also, the galaxy's in half, so all of the people over there are stuck. Like, honestly, pick one.
Yeah,
it's fair. I guess there are a lot more fires to put out than I realized. Because even though this seems like it should be high priority, it's like, well, there's also galaxy-ending thing happening here, there, everywhere, and it's not just this that's on their plate, right?
It's literally like the Imperium is so bloated and dysfunctional that the internal bureaucracy and politics could be destroying them as much as the actual outside forces, and often arguably more. Like there is a genuinely good chance that maybe they could have like 4 full chapters of Space Marines being here if a planetary governor of an important planet that works with communication didn't embezzle the funds to buy more concubines, and now the navigator and astropaths don't have the money to get their systems working again. Like that is a totally completely reasonable option that could occur.
Happens all the time.
All the time. The war on Vigilus is called the War of Beasts or the War of Nightmares because the Imperium was attacked by Chaos, Orcs, Dark Eldar, and Gene Stealers at the same time in the same planetary system.
Yeah, that is a lot.
It's just like when everything is dysfunctional, you know?
Yeah.
So another character that isn't actually mentioned on this whole thing is one of the major warlords, but it is Rear Admiral Borkel of the Imperial Navy. His title changes in a little bit in a bit, but for context for why his title's going to change. Prior to the events of this book, Lord Admiral of the Navy was Quirin Priska. You may remember her, but to refresh, in the Nockman Rift War, Priska's naval strategies in the Battle of the Narrow worked on stalling Harkon's armada from reaching the Sanctus Wall, and her flagship, Hammer of the Emperor, went missing and she was declared dead. She was then posthumously named as an Imperial Saint by the Ecclesiarchy, and then this being said, it is heavily implied and partially confirmed to this that she is very much alive and likely in a mason jar on Harkon's ship somewhere.
Yummers.
Yeah, Night Lords, buddy.
Yeah.
So, the invasion itself. So, near Sanguiterra, the Imperium has been carefully monitoring the Mandival points to intercept and relay any potential chaos sighting or emergence, which is to be expected considering the horrors of Vigilus. Because of this, especially, paranoia was at an all-time high. And wouldn't you know, a bunch of Loyalist ships suddenly emerged, which was totally normal and great news. The end.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hell yeah. Let's go. Yeah. That's great. Lovely. The end.
No.
Thank you. Loyalists show up. Everything is happy, fun times. Yeah, sure. Great.
Perfect.
Lovely. Love a happy ending in 40K. Now what really happens?
So dozens of new sigils were suddenly there, more appearing every second. Huge and angular ancient warships burst from the warp, as if from the pages of some historical tract. They barged through the group of damaged vessels, and the damaged ships started ceasing transmitting as they were no longer needed. Basically, Harkon brought in a whole bunch of Loyalist ships, and from what I can tell, just yanked threw them at them. Because he captured all of them. They were complete decoys, of course.
Of course. Again, you never have a happy ending in 40K, so, that's great. Just yeeting Loyalist ships as if they were, just stones to throw. Cool. Nice job, Harry.
Before the Imperium vessels even had time to react, Harkon and his massive fleet just steamrolled through all of the relay ships, with only a few getting away. And he ended this little thing with his classic line, "The Herald of the Apocalypse has arrived."
Hell yeah.
So the Imperium had some time to work through this. Despite the speed of Harkon's armada, the distance between the Mandible Point and Sanguiterra was a few days. So communications eventually reached Sanguiterra, and the high-ranking Imperium officers began their preparations and tried to find ways they could get themselves more time. Now, of course, they had a lot of military offices and areas thanks to Yaruta and her Sir Mortis forces were also kind of bolstered. And per her suggestion, the Rear Admiral was placed in charge of the naval delegation. And his plan was to distract Harkon and hopefully stall him longer. Under his command was Captain Fulvian of the Sons of Medusa.
Hey.
Who we just chatted about.
Yeah, we sure did. Let's go.
So they specifically went after a group of the fleet that they knew they could destroy, cut a little piece of it off of that Kit Kat bar. And to their credit, they did just that. They had a 4-hour naval battle, put a sizable dent into a branch of the Chaos Combatants, and then were able to somewhat bail a little bit afterwards. But they did realize by doing so how big Harkon's fleet was. 57 brand new and unscathed ships from his fleet.
Ooh. So this, I'm assuming it's a lot bigger than they thought.
Right. So instead of actually yanking out and bailing when they possibly could, the captain of the Sons of Medusa realized that they could fight on, destroying a few more ships, but they would be annihilated in return. Such inefficient equations were not to be borne, says the Iron Hands guy. He ordered what was left of the attack fleet to retreat, and most Imperial ships were lost in the extrication, but at least a third of their original numbers struck out at the system's edge to escape. So they did get away a certain amount of them with the information needed. Now, as mentioned earlier, Sangua Terra's moon, Sigil, is effectively a demon world because the warp is funny.
Yep, it sure is.
And with that, it is ruled over by a demon known as Chorkon. It's got apostrophes and weirdness, but we're just going to call it Chorkon.
Sure.
It doesn't quite say what kind of demon they are, but they love crystals and mazes, so you can maybe make a guess.
Sounds kind of Zinch-pilled.
A little Zinch-pilled. In an attempt to help his cause, Harkin struck up a deal with the demon world, which generally striking up a deal with the demon is a pretty bad idea. But in this case, it was justified because Chorkins offered his aid so long as some of the World Claimer's lords took up his sigil. Mainly, yeah, just like he's striking a deal with a Zinchian demon, so like...
Fair trade.
Well, maybe.
That's true. It is Zinch. Who knows how it's going to backfire on you, right?
Yeah, and like some of the more divisive and problematic lords took up the sigil without much questioning, but Harkin requested that all of his lords who took the sigil go out and prove their worth by facing some of the more entrenched and defended parts of the planet. His other commanders found this to be annoying, but Harkin certainly knows something they don't. So, with the demonic aid on his side, they begin to attack Sangua Terra's capital, because they've got like a demonic moon on their side. That's a great benefit.
Mm-hmm.
So the real way to go about this, of course, would be to go point for point the different locations and the various assaults, but it would be a little bit easier than just going back and forth and all this stuff, because, we will have a... what the hell did he write here? As it might be a little easier than going back and forth over the minor ones before the one that will have Bricky all bricked up.
Oh my!
Why am I getting bricked up?
Bricky's getting bricked up over demon incursions and point by point. Oh wow, Bricky!
Goodness gracious! Apparently, the big one that'll get me all bricked up. Apparently, I don't know. I don't know what he's talking about. Anyway, so the World Claimer, of course, led his Gloom Talons to multiple precision strikes down there on the planet. The Fear Rakers and the Commodore's Dreadlance of Chaos Knights deployed as well on Urbano Sprawl Alpha. They hit the spaceport. They did all the usual stuff you do when you start a combat like this, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
The first and the easiest of the conflicts was the Arkandor spaceport. It was basically like and it's gone moment. No characters, no plot armor. It arrives and it just dies.
All right, cool.
Yeah, whatever. The second conflict was the Tower of Murmuration. Love that. Is an astropath tower and is being defended by not only guardsmen and inquisitorial stormtroopers, but also the Inquisitor Cartavolnus and his black iconoclasts as well. Which, if I'm not mistaken, I think they're inquisitorial stormtroopers. They're like Militarum Tempestus, like Scions.
Oh, okay.
You're pretty
love
cool.
That hot, love those hotshot lasguns, man.
Love them. Now, obviously, they descend upon the tower in their usual Night Lord's way. However, they have a prized weapon that the Imperium was not anticipating, which is the... and frankly, I wasn't either until I read this wild description of, quote, the Dead Missiles.
Oh, no.
Crafted by warpsmiths of the Night Lords, a combination of Dark Age technology, Eldric Xenos lore, and, quote, the expertise in torture amongst the Fear Rakers can only be found in the flagship known as Hollow. Quote from the book. Several shrieking coils are at the core of these weapons, each an analyst or biological matter stitched together from the brain stems of captured psychers. These individuals are subjected to untold empiric torment while chirurgic servitors peel their bodies apart in agonizing surgeries lasting days. Delivering cerebral tissues are linked to those other victims, and neurological pulses flicker in cycles between them. The specific fears of one individual are shared and magnified until the trembling ring of gray tissue radiates waves of palpable terror. Dozens of shrieking coils are fitted into each dread missile. They are steeped in a brine of engineered hormones and viral scrap code and threaded with a core of the ashy material left after warp translations. Surrounded with explosives, these payloads are finally built into the shell of a void torpedo and sealed in stasis vaults to retain piquancy. Editor's note: think fast, chuckle nuts. Anxiety bomb upon thee.
Yeah, I was gonna say they made a giant psyker terror bomb.
They literally made a terror bomb. They tortured a bunch of people, put them in a bomb, and threw it at you to then have their torture and fear explode.
That is the most Night Lords coded thing I think I've ever heard in my life.
I think they may have peaked.
Yeah, that may be peak Night Lords, even more so than like in the book the psychic shriek that just blows everybody's head up from the torture.
That's pretty Night Lords on all.
Yeah, that's it. It's between that and the terror bomb.
So, unbeknownst to those he fought alongside, Carta Volnus had come to the difficult conclusion that Nachman Gauntlet could not be allowed to remain open, lest it drown the Imperium Sanctus in traitor filth. This, of course, is presented with a massive dose of foreshadowing, and we'll likely have to wait for the next book to see what that means. I guess Carta Volnus thinks that the Nachman Gauntlet can't be open, or else traitors will do nothing but just fly through it. And so there's a possibility that Mr. Carta Volnus may start doing some particular actions in the next book.
Oh, so they're thinking, you know what? The Nachman Gauntlet is important, but it's not that important. Like, this is just a way for chaos to get to us. Let's just close this mother effer.
Yes, which if there's anything the Imperium loves, it's infighting. So I'm a little bit worried about what Carta Volnus might be considering next book around. Now, after the anxiety bombs were thrown, the next location was something called the Emperor's Voice Grand Battery. This was a direct assault by the Knights of House Mandragore, but luckily Master Nodreth and his men, and 3 Legio Tempestor Titans, were giving them some pretty good hell, which unfortunately does prove to be rather futile as the Commodore pushes the line with his knights and a fleet of demons swarm down the Titans. And he simply could not hold the line any further, and the Emperor's Voice Grand Battery began to burn. So far, we appear to be 0 for 3.
Yeah, so far, this is a massive chaos dub.
Yes, because, the dread missiles made all of the guardsmen go catatonic with fear, and they just couldn't handle the flying Night Lord Raptors coming down on them.
That's fair. That's a tough one.
So finally, you have the War of Angels, which is the largest part of the Urbano Sprawl Alpha. It takes place in the center of the Primus district, mainly with Junith Yeruta and the Sororitas holding the location, as Harkin decides that of all the places he's going to attack personally, this is the one. And that's where you get this awesome artwork of all of the Night Lord Raptors swarming the Bastion in the skies. That image that Shai posted.
Love that.
It is a phenomenal image. And then you get all like the sisters and their jump packs, like kind of dueling them in the skies, and it's great stuff.
That is a great juxtaposition of like Night Lord Raptors versus like the Angels. That's such a good like back and forth between angel and demon. I love it.
It's lovely. And also just like the lightning, the warp stuff in the background. It's so good.
Oh, it's very peak.
So obviously, while attempting to fight back, Harkin, predicted a lot of the moves of Yeruta and the sisters, cutting off their attempts to go back. And no matter how many times Yeruta tried to rally, Harkin is like kind of a Chad and just consistently holds them down. Mm-hmm. Yeruta's focus mainly is the usage of heavy flamers, which actually makes quite a bit of sense due to the shock tactics of the Night Lords' attempts to literally scorch the very sky. that they are using to their advantage as a way to kind of get a one-up on them. Which is why the flames were roaring so hot that they began to seemingly swallow the surface of the cathedral and emit great white lights, a flash, a bam, an alakazam, into the orange-colored sky. But this, my young Padawan, was in fact not simply just the flames flicking and licking into the sky. For in reality, it was the bright lights and the orange flashing above the cathedral were then detonated in a glowing orb of a concussive blast. And as you are very clearly can see from the image that was posted, you know who's showing up.
I have no idea who's showing up. Who is it?
It's, of course, wherever she is needed, Mrs. Celestine, the living saint herself.
This would be one of those moments where it's like, this is our greatest hour of need. Please, oh God, send us an angel. And she should justifiably show up.
I mean, as far as like greatest hours of need, this is pretty up there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, she could be fresh from just being murdered by Karn. That's also true.
Not now. This is an epic entrance for her.
Yep, it was literally like Sisters of Battle, Seraphim and Zephyrim, as well as flocks of winged servo cherubs and snow-feathered doves. At their head, leading the charge, Celestine, the living saint. What follows is an airborne battle that you, quote, Bricky, have probably recreated multiple times with your Night Lords and Sisters minis while making airplane noises and sitting cross-legged on one of those playmats with all the cars and streets on them. Editor's note, add a propeller hat too, for good measure.
Oh man, can you make that happen, Shy? Like, surely you have enough skill with photo editing software that you can actually make that little image happen, because I need to see it, because that's just I'm gonna get you, Harkins.
So this had turned the battle into a bit more of an attrition-based conflict. Take a shot. And instead of making forward movement, it was more or less about holding the line. Take a shot. Because that's all that ever happens with these battles.
Yep.
So basically, Celestine herself was looking at Junith. And of course, Junith was odd because it's Celestine. But she was like, hey, listen. Mardom would be rightly praised and awesome, but that would be a wasteful death, and it would basically just do the enemy's work for them. You need to call in an extraction so that Celestine can go and reap a tally of traitor heads. But for now, things got to move on. We got to adjust.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, the remnants of the Guardians of the Covenant worked directly with Yarut to plan evacuation methods, and since they could not make it to the extractions, the remaining Titans act almost as an abandoned line to distract from the hordes of chaos moving forward and disrupting the evacuations. Mm-hmm. This distraction working very well, as a Titan being a distraction is a very good distraction.
I was going to say, like, it's crazy. In what world is a Titan just used as a distraction? Like, damn, that's how bad things have gotten here. It's crazy.
It says, the fallen nobles unleashed a thunderous firestorm on the Titans as they closed with them. Chorkon's demons had swamped the god engines, weakening them with blades and supernatural energies and bringing down their few remaining void shields. The Chaos Knights blew their war horns, warning their demonic allies away from a kill they saw as theirs, but they were ignored. A huge bloodthirster flew through Thunderlord Liaxi's point defense cannons to crash into its head section, hacking through its armor to get to those inside. Princeps Drentor ordered the Warlord's reactor to maximum and unshackled its shielding. With a curse at the demon as it reached for him, he detonated the Titan's core. As the ships began to take off and a severely injured Celestine, who was acting as rear guard for the evacuees, is the last to board the ship, relocating the surface. The Imperium holdouts exist on the planet, likely engage in some crusade during the giant detonation of the Titan's plasma core.
Yeah.
Basically, though, the final holdouts on the planet are engaged in some kind of trench crusade, wink, wink, as the capital itself of the planet has fallen, and basically Sangue Terra is more or less a lost cause.
Oh, wow. I when this started, I wasn't expecting Sangue Terra to, like, fall, but damn, it got absolutely worked.
They got Celestine arrived for the fight, and they still worked her back.
That's crazy.
She appeared like, and the bunch of Titans, demonic planet, etc.
That massive Chaos dub. So Chaos controls the Nachman Gauntlet right now.
Chaos is taking the final ending bits on Sangue Terra right now, while Abaddon, I believe, is moving towards Vigilus to finish it off.
Oh, wow. So at this point, actually closing the Nachman Gauntlet is probably, like, if What's-His-Face can do it, do it. Like, you've lost Vigilus, you've lost Sangue Terra. If you can close that shit, close it. Like, that's as much of a win as you can garner from this, right?
Absolutely. So, the last bit, as the Imperium vacates the planet, World Claimer takes a slow and nice little victory lap around the Militarum fortresses that once acted as the command center for Judith. He is told that repairs are underway to help continue his conquests, while his surviving commanders sit around a shattered holotable. He is asked what happened to the commanders that took the sigil of Chorcom, who were strangely missing from the meeting. You gave them to this demon? Nethar's whisper was like a hiss, but Harkin saw a half-smile behind the affront. All of them? They gave themselves, he roared back, when they dared put their wills before the War Master. With his point made, the price for Chorcon's aid revealed, and Harkin hoped a lesson that would be hard to forget etched into the warlord's memories. Basically, he just kind of sold them to the Chaos demons.
Yep, he sure did. He sure did. But hey, he won. Big dub. Big dub. Damn.
Without much further discussion, he's on to his next thought. Abaddon wanted him to claim Sangue Terra for him, but Harkin, the dude who always needs more, wants to give him more. So he wishes to grant the War Master the whole sector. The prize of Sangue Terra is his, but he reveals one last prize that he had kept for quite a while. An abomination of machine and man is revealed that the World Claimer has kept unintentionally secret for quite some time, as the abhorrent appearance of this thing is too distracting for his commanders to see, plus his usage for the strange monstrosities for him and him alone revealed in the closing lines of the book. You will help me reach inside Sector Command. The knowledge still inside you, your ciphers, Pneumo codes, names, numbers, and plans will unlock one door after another until this sector serves the War Master. What was left of Lord Admiral Priska's mind understood little of what Harkin had said. The moment of air as the World Claimer left rippled through a flap of skin and past what was left of a larynx, drawing forth the echo of a moan. So,
man,
there's a flap of skin and a larynx in a jar or some crap like that in this horrifyingly murdered admiral that he is going to, find a way to learn everything about.
Oh, boy. That's brutal. Sheesh.
So that's about the end of the book.
Okay.
We now return to the third massive World Claimer Chaos dub.
Apparently you just don't step to him.
Abaddon is off to go take Vigilus. Herald World Claimer is just doing a victory lap, taking the other important planet in the gauntlet. Cardivolnus is looking to close the gauntlet or something. The capital has fallen.
The best they can hope for now is that he closes the gauntlet. That's the best you can hope for. And even then, you still lost Sangue Terra, and Harold is still there with a formidable force, and it's still effed.
Yeah, I have no clue. See, this is the thing, right? Chaos dubs in Warhammer always end with some major character arriving in the end to win somehow. Like, the lion has returned, and I'm going to beat you up, or something.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean,
Celestine showed up and got body.
Celestine showed up and then got walloped. I mean, I don't know, man. Like, it's bizarre. I just got something.
Yeah, we're cleaning house today, but good luck, Imperium. Good luck trying to salvage this, I guess.
I have no clue. I mean, because that's the funny thing, right? Like, oh, Gilliman shows up, yippee, and it's like, oh, that's cool. Here's Fulgrim, by the way, or
Fulgrim's
you know,
here. Oh, I have a planet killer. Like, oh my god.
I mean, Vashtor is still out there. Like, what's he gonna do?
True. They still got the key that they're trying to find the door to, right?
Yeah, he's actually out looking for locks and stuff. So he's kind of got his own quest.
Yeah, but still, sheesh. Chaos is eating good in the neighborhood. Whew.
It is a consistent chaos dub. It just normally the Imperial dubs arrive, and we have had 3 straight books of pure chaos dubs. And I'm waiting for when inevitably some named character is going to show up and stop chaos because they have to.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know when. They're on a roll.
Yeah, I was gonna say, who do you think can show up and turn the tides for the Imperium? Like, if a character was gonna show up out of nowhere, who would it be?
Vulcan.
Vulcan? Okay.
So there is a Salamander's image in the upcoming Codex maps. Also, we just got Fulgrim, and now we're 4 Demon Primarchs to 2 Imperial Primarchs. And so I'm just kind of like, the easy answer is Vulcan. There's a Salamander's photo on this future thing. Maybe they get their own codex, kind of like the Blood Angels or Dark Angels, and then we get Vulcan.
Stomp.
But I honestly have no idea. Perfectly honest, you know what I would prefer? I'd prefer if Chaos just like won. They took the gauntlet, they smashed the planets into bits, and now the next story is the Imperium desperately trying to find a different pathway.
Yeah, sure. I go with that. Yeah.
It would be humorous.
Absolutely.
So we'll have to see.
Absolutely walloped.
Absolutely walloped. Sigma World Claimer has returned.
And he's got the coolest ship I've ever seen in my life.
They didn't even use the ship.
That's true. They didn't even use the planet killer. They didn't even have to.
No, they really didn't. I mean, they may in a bit after he's doing the victory lap, and maybe like the next one he'll use to blow up some more stuff. But he's like, I'll hold it in my back pocket.
Yeah, it'd be great if he did a victory lap and he just starts blowing up random planets as like a fireworks display, and that's just how he celebrates.
I think it would be hilarious if he used it as like he like blew up the demon world.
It just blows up the moon because F you. I'm the world claimer, baby. You took some of my troops. Pew!
Or it'd be kind of funny. It's like, hey, these demon dudes are assholes. I'm going to fire it at the demon world, and then those rocks will blow up and then land on the other planet and then break it apart.
Let's go. That's such a cool ship. Oh, my God. I can't believe they had that just sitting around and they never used it before now.
I don't know. Everyone's got some cool Dark Age tech that they got chilling in the background. Me waiting to see the next Necron Death Star.
Fair. They probably do have several. I mean, they have the Celestial Orrery that just, boop, you don't exist anymore. Why not a Death Star, right?
So I actually was curious about the Celestial Orrery a bit, because I kind of was like, you know what? This just seems so ridiculously overpowered. Like, I'm going to go look it up. So I looked it up a bit more. It's actually really funny, because you blow up the star, but because you have to blow up the star, you blow it up in a way that requires, like, changing time and weirdness in the world. And so the Necrons will then have to like painstakingly spend 1,000 years adjusting timelines to make sure that everything is correct, to make sure the star blows up and there are no knock-on consequences for the rest of the universe. And so it's like, it's just not worth it, man. It's just like not worth doing it.
So they literally will not use the Celestial Orrery because it's too much of a chore to make sure that it doesn't affect time in a crazy ass way.
If you blow up the star, like, how will this have a horrible knock-on effect to everything else in the galaxy? Like, you have to fix that, which is why it's like, goodness gracious.
Okay.
I like the cope in the description. Destruction of the whole world is what Abaddon only does in extreme circumstances because he doesn't want to squander valuable resources. That's why he didn't use it for 1,000 years. Sure.
Okay, sure, yeah, whatever. So cool. I'm glad they brought it out, though. If that's something they've had in their little, like, recycle bin for a while, I'm glad they brought it out. So cool.
The recycle bin. But yeah, another lovely Chaos dub. Please return in the next Knockman Gauntlet for the next one.
Hell yeah.
We now return to book 4 of Herald Bagtaker.
Yeah. And hey, as is tradition with Adeptus Ridiculous, at the beginning of this, Bricky was like, hey, man, I think this is going to be a pretty short episode. Really?
How long was it? Oh, crap.
Hour and 10.
God damn it.
See you next time for another short episode, folks.
Yeah, Dad? Oh, that sucks.
Anyone seen the crash out going on Twitter with Asmongold and Amaranth? Is anyone up to date on that? Because holy, she's talking about LGBTQIA plus activists that are at, like, I think like a little town hall meeting thing. They're like talking back to senators because of all the fucking shit going on in America.
Saying what they're saying.
Give the crazies to all of California. It's already land of fruits and nuts. Yeah, we.
This was the clip that really got people.
It's fine.
It has been 1 month since Southern California exploded in a deadly fierce fire
They can have
toward
that.
the Palisades and beyond.
I don't know, man. I like fire. I got fire aspect on my swords, man. That's what my Minecraft world looks like. I wouldn't want to live here, and I think it's a little fucky to ask for the LGBTQ plus people for it. This was the next thing that I saw. This is her addressing the controversy.
Wanted LGBTQ people to burn in the LA fires.
Yeah, which is crazy.
It's crazy because you totally agree with that.
It has been a while
Oh,
since
yeah,
I
you know,
checked
it's
in here
definitely
properly.
My uncle, fuck him, right?
Does everyone have a gay uncle? No, I have a gay brother.
Gay uncle.
I feel like
You have
that,
a gay brother?
that powers me up, actually. Yeah.
Gay uncle.
I had a gay uncle. Oh, I'm sorry. It's okay. That's why I started therapy and now.
That's why I started therapy, bro. Don't you love it when you have a gay brother and it makes you want to go to therapy? My sister's in the corner here, 10 years in the future. Anyway, I'll let it finish, but
And then someone clarified, though, for me, apparently, is that I wanted the activists to die in a fire, which I also didn't say, but I did say they can have LAs on fire if they really want it.
Yeah.
I don't want it anymore, that's for sure.
Shut
Maybe-
up, Amaranth.
wouldn't it have been a little bit better to just clarify that you don't want gays to die in a fire? Would that not be an easier statement, Amaranth? Anyway, so Amaranth responds to all of this sort of controversy with a short series of tweets. A short series of tweets about the situation, right? I won't fight a biological male, but this is 2 hours ago, chat. But I'm sure I could find a proxy who I will cover all the expenses and training for who will. Guys, any takers? What the fuck is going on? What can you expect from a Kick streamer? Dude, she's been off my radar since joining Kick. I have just no fucking clue what's going on at Kick. In all fairness, I don't have any clue of what's going on normally. Vince the Now React streaming. Goddamn right I am. I'm just bored and wanted to press live stream. I'm sorry. This is barely content chat. I'm just here to chat. So this is what she tweets in response to that one I just showed you, right? The original one.
You say that you're afraid of Trump and that's why you don't want the city to be a safe space for trans people. You better prepare for trans people to make this a very unsafe space.
This 12-second clip. Sorry, she used this as a response. She played this, which is a bit of a threatening thing to just say generally, but is a little bit funny. like the idea that like if you're gonna make my life a bit of a disaster and unsafe, I'm not just gonna let it happen. That's a little shitty. But obviously this is the fucking like the blue hair liberal thing. It's very, very easy to like, it's like a stereotype, right? And then she responds by using this as evidence. I guess I'm not allowed to question the behavior of activists who threaten to incite violence against their own community without being accused of hating the group affiliation they happen to belong with. But then again, I also don't assume the actions of a specific few are indicative of a whole. But thanks for making me trend. She fucking 4,000,006. Jesus fucking Christ ratio. This has been occupying all my thoughts for the last like day, chat. Wow, what a reach, Emma. Yeah. It's I think maybe they can live in the fires. The LGBT activists, like these, the fires. They can have those. Guys, why are you booing? Why are you booing? All I said was that they should be in the fires. I did nothing wrong. Amaranth's whole thing was like she was doing OnlyFans because of like a sort of greater good, right? Which is respectable. There's been a few people during COVID that did like there was those OnlyFans people that made nudes and stuff. They sold stuff so they could pay for like help for their community in COVID, right? I don't know if do you remember that? Or like cancer treatments. Amaranth's reason for doing all this stuff, for being a streamer, for doing the OnlyFans stuff, was to eventually make like a horse rescue. But Amaranth's made like a reported, like, I don't know, 50 million or something like that. Like, I own all the McDonald's in my area sort of thing. And people rightly question, when's the horse rescue starting again? I must have accidentally entered the secret cow level in Diablo because all I hear is moo. What the fuck, Ammo? Dude.
What? What did she say?
The secret cow level in Diablo because all I hear is moo. What the fuck, Ammo? Dude,
Holy shit, dude.
One tweet. It would take one tweet. I do not hate gay people. That would be it. Trans rights, gay, I don't think that they're bad. That's all it would take. Oops, sorry, that came across a bit wrong. What the fuck? This, Jesus. And then, hold on, this is the new one. You're a real two-faced fucks. I promise you, Ammo, I know that we follow each other. You've done this 15 hours ago. I am not two-faced. Fuck you. Look at this. This whole thing. Holy shit. It would take one tweet, but she's still going. I won't fight a biological male, but I'm sure I could find a proxy who I will cover all expenses and training for who will. Do I count in this? I'm definitely a biological male, but I don't really want to fight Amaranth. She works out a lot. Also, I don't want to fight any. If I get hit by fucking anything, it's gonna murder me. The people that she was originally talking about in that clip, the whole like burning fires, they are just literally defending their rights. A new thing came out in Texas. They're trying to ban all trans healthcare. I'm not sure if you guys saw that. They recently just had a travel ban, essentially. Like, for example, right now, let's say I had like an F on my passport, right, instead of an M. It is an M. My passport doesn't look like me anymore, so maybe I count in this. Maybe I classify as like one of the people that couldn't get into America now. But if my documents didn't match up with what I look like, which
where did the time go?
Typically never had an issue at the border with. There's been funny little border checking moments where someone goes like, transgender sort of look. That's nothing. That's fine. But, you know, making it a law that you can't enter the country if those don't match. Holy fucking Hey, Kurt. Nice to see you again. Yeah, not being allowed into the country, having people change the, having the American government restrict your access to all of your documents if they don't match your sex assigned at birth is a little shitty. I definitely couldn't get a visa now. Get ready for lawsuits. Dude. There's so much shit happening. All I wanted to talk about was the streamer little crash out for it, because I don't do politics. Well, sorry, I am awful at talking about politics. But yeah, you're right. It's scary as fuck. I didn't think it would be this bad. But I'm in England. I'm avoiding a lot of it for now. If it comes to England, I'm fucking leaving. If I was in America, I would have left.
It's Wellness Wednesdays. It's Wellness Wednesdays, and this Wellness Wednesday clicks and all this. Some people just like the.
Shit. What's this?
So, Johnny, you work alone now? Finally ditched that stupid shadow? Talk about urban blight. What do you want, Johnny?
Relax, kid, relax. I'm just blowing off some steam. Me and Kitty had a spat. What do you do when you and the gloomy chick have a lover's quarrel?
What? We never... I mean, we aren't... Look, Johnny, you can either go back to the Ghost Zone willingly, or I can make you go.
I'm digging that tough guy act, little man. But don't worry, I'm gone.
And take the Dork of Darkness with you.
See you on the flip side, kid. And thanks for the game.
Whoa!
To a brand new video. Today we're going to be talking about all of the new skins coming to Marvel Rivals, starting with 2 brand new skins coming tomorrow, and these are beautiful. So, first of all, we have the brand new Cloak and Dagger Twilight Duo skin. Now, this drops tomorrow at 9 PM EST, and it's going to be an epic skin, and the bundle will cost 1,600 units, and it will give you the skin, an MVP animation, emote, nameplate, and spray. And it's kind of a Mafia-inspired skin. People saying Cloak looks like a pimp named Slickback, and honestly, these people aren't wrong. This skin...
That's so hard. Yo, that goes crazy, actually. What?
It really does look like Cloak is a pimp, and maybe Dagger is his partner in crime. But I'm not gonna lie, I really dig this Mafia style. Also, all the gold elements, like the gold chain, the gold rose, the necklace. But here is the MVP screen. Honestly, I think that looks sick. They're undergoing a bunch of fire from the ops. And there's also this kind of rose theming as well to it. You see the red rose there and the gold rose on Cloak's suit. Now, this is the gameplay, and I don't think it really changes any of the sound effects or visual effects, really. But it is an awesome looking skin. I think Dagger is absolutely rocking that white suit. Also, the fedoras look really cool. But I really do like the Cloak suit. When you look at the Cloak outfit, this kind of striped suit jacket looks really cool as it's floating around, and the sleeves as well kind of wobbling around. I don't know if technically this could kind of get in your way. It's kind of big, but I mean, his primary fire is literally lock on. So now, as for the emotes, this is what it looks like when you emote as Cloak. He takes the dagger out of his chest and then puts it back in. And then for the Dagger version of the emote, she takes out a purple rose and smells it like that. And then it kind of disappears back into the necklace. Personally, I think I'm going to be buying this skin. I think it's awesome. Now, there is also a brand new Venom skin. This is the Lingering Imprint costume, and it's from Venom 2018 Volume 8. And basically, it's Agent Venom. The host is Flash Thompson. Now, I don't know whether this is going to be an epic or a legendary skin. It will, of course, have its own MVP animation that I believe Marvel Rivals will reveal later. So, if you're watching this video later, check the pinned comment, because I'll likely put a link to watch the MVP animation there. But I just wanted to get this news out to you guys. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a good skin, but I think the Cloak and Dagger one definitely takes it for me. Now, the Cloak and Dagger skins come as a surprise. We didn't see them leaked. However, the Agent Venom style skin was a leaked skin, and we already kind of knew this one was coming. But as for all of the upcoming skins in Marvel Rivals that have been leaked so far, there's not that many left on our list of leaked skins to expect. One of them being the brand new Zombie Strange skin, and this is probably one of the coolest leaked skins that we have left to come to the game. And at first, we thought this was going to be a mythic skin, just because of how awesome it looks. It has completely new animations. You have the zombie hands coming out the back of him when you use the Maelstrom of Madness. But now it's pretty clear that this is going to be a legendary skin, as recently we've had a lot of legendary skins that are really cool. And all of these do have special sound effects, different visual effects. They do completely change up the skin fitting in any kind of event. But all the leaked skins so far have been coming out in Season 1. So maybe all of these leaked skins are set for Season 1, and it won't be long before we have it. Another one that a lot of people really want is the MCU Moon Knight skin. Now, unfortunately, we only got an image of this. We couldn't see gameplay for some reason, so whether that means it's less far along or it just means the leakers couldn't be bothered to put it in the game, I'm not too sure. This is a skin I think I do really want. However, with Moon Knight skins, most of them are just plain white, so it is kind of hard to distinguish them when you're actually playing the game, which might make you not really want to buy it as much. Now, two other skins on our list that are still yet to come to the game are the Yokai skins, the Japanese-style Spider-Man and Penny Parker skins. Now, these are already on the Tokyo 2099 map. They've been teased since the start of the game, and we've seen what the Spider-Man skin looks like in-game, so definitely expect these two to drop as a pair in the near future. I think since they've been leaked, there's a good chance, again, these come as a pair to the store, just like with the Cloak and Dagger and Venom, or the Punk Child and Punk Hulk skin. I think in a matter of time, we're going to get these two skins drop as a nice surprise to the store as well. And these look really nice. Honestly, I love this kind of Japanese theme to it, and the artist who designed them did a really good job. Speaking of the Punk skins, we still do have the Squirrel Punk skin to come to the game sometime soon as well. Now, this skin was already teased on the Central Park map. There is a graffiti of Squirrel Punk. Now, she does have some shades in this artwork, but her leaked skin didn't, so whether or not she'll have shades in the final design, I don't think she will, but surely that's dropping before the end of Season 1, since it's literally in the game right now. And last of the leaked skins that we really want in the game is, of course, this Cloak and Dagger. We've talked about it already, though. I think this one's set for Season 2 and the Hellfire Gala, and at least the current Cloak and Dagger skin will keep us busy until then, because this is probably the most requested skin in the game. Now, I also wanted to look at the potential future esports skins for Marvel Rivals, because it goes without saying that a lot of teams and esports organizations are creating Marvel Rivals rosters with the likes of Sentinels, Team Envy, 100 Thieves, Luminosity Gaming. So many esports organizations are creating Marvel Rivals teams, and I think we're certainly going to see the explosion of Marvel Rivals esports in 2025. There's no doubt that they're working on their strategy and they're going to push this because of how successful Overwatch League was, and with Marvel Rivals being a hero shooter, it definitely has a place of its own. And what's really cool about the idea of esports skins for Marvel Rivals is that a lot of these teams are now kind of using that idea to promote their move to Marvel Rivals. We've looked at the Sentinels artwork, where it's pretty obvious that this is just Photoshop. These aren't actually skins in the game. Before you get tricked by other posts thinking these are new skins, they are just Photoshopped. I mean, this is the Adam Warlock Battle Pass skin, but let's just say the thing looks absolutely sick in this magma molten look to it. But we also saw Team Envy do the same thing with their black and blue color scheme. Again, just using Photoshop, but it does give the idea that these theme skins will actually look really nice, and I think they do have a place in Marvel Rivals. There was also the teaser from 100 Thieves, which was quite cool, as it put the 100 Thieves logo on Captain America's shield, which is again another unique route that I think they could go down when creating the esports skins. And I think there's a strong chance we do eventually get esports skins, especially with how much the developers listen to the community, and now these pictures being out there definitely creates the debate. And I think there should definitely be a way to earn maybe esports tokens for free by watching the esports. I know Overwatch did that in the early days. You could earn Overwatch League tokens by just watching the esports and then sports side of things, and I think that would be a great approach. And if anyone's going to do it where they'd actually give you the option to get free esports skins, I think it would be Marvel Rivals. They've done a great job recently at giving back to the community. Of course, still having the option to purchase esports tokens to buy esports skins, and a good portion of that money should definitely go to the organizations to really solidify a place for Marvel Rivals esports. So keep an eye out in 2025 for this kind of stuff, and if any news does develop of this coming to the game, I'll let you guys know. But the idea is there, and I think it'll be absolutely awesome. So there we are, ladies and gentlemen.
Dude, that Cloak and Dagger skin's actually insane. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. No. You're on a spaceship. Don't fire it. Oh. Huh? Excuse me?
Lancer, a fantastic setting that I could easily say is one of my favorite sci-fi settings like ever. Its tech is fantastic. It hovers on this really fun line of everything being pretty detailed, and if you have a question about the setting, there's probably an answer, but it's also not like so detailed. It's like, you know, Star Wars or 40K level of detailed. This doesn't leave everything so ambiguous that you're left trying to figure out what's going on, but you have enough wiggle room that you can kind of create your own stuff for the setting, which makes it really freeing in a way. But the important aspect of Lancer is the mechs. You know, the part of the game that you actually play, and each mech has a lot of flavor text to them that I really want to share. That's what I'm gonna do today. I'm gonna share one fun fact about each mech that I found while just reading through CompCon for fun, which I do as a pastime, which you should also do. In two parts, because there are a lot of mechs, and oh boy, time-wise, I can't manage it. But hey, if you know, like this part and want to see the next one, then why not subscribe? That'll actually make sure you're notified for the next part. That's something. And thank you to my channel members for making these videos possible. And a very special thank you to mainly a Warhammer 40k style chain axe, which doubles as like a utility tool to carve through like bulkheads and doors. But the cool important one is that nanocarbon sword, which will adjust its molecular composition in real time as it feeds the data as you're making your connections with your enemy targets. As you're doing so, the sword itself is adjusting its composition to better kill the person you're fighting. The Blackbeard's variant frame, the Empikai, is a mech that really does match its lore of being designed from the hallucinations of a poet and mech designer. From its appearance, I doubt that's really surprising to learn, and I also doubt it's very surprising to learn that that giant hand makes up 50% of its mass, which also, by the way, has its own little CompCon AI to control it, which pretty goofy. I guess you could say that's multiple fun facts, but whatever. You see that minigun on the Drake? Yeah. Despite just looking cool, that gun is also so powerful, Northstar really recommends you only fire it within very specific specifications. In their very particular burst fire recommendations, otherwise, you could damage the mech, or, in more dangerous circumstances, yourself, with how much raw firepower that minigun can output. The Lancaster is the most versatile support mech in the game, and one of the methods it can do this is with the restock drone. This drone will go out and go clear some heat, a condition, it'll load a weapon for other players, things like that. It's really useful. Gained itself a fun little nickname, as when it goes out and does this, and is used up, it'll just disintegrate upon its completion of its job, which among Lancers has earned it the nickname of Mech Snack. The Nelson are the main staple mechs for the anti-piracy group Albatross, a group of cosmopolitans who are largely funded by ISPN Northstar. Due to their vast amount of time spent in space, the Nelson is designed to be highly modular and legacy compatible, so any old or new tech modifications Albatross comes across are more easily added to its frame. The Rayleigh's core system, the M35 Mjolnir cannon, works off of neural impulses, either from a pilot, a CompCon, or an NHP on board. Once it starts spinning up, this thing will keep spinning and firing off at targets automatically until the Rayleigh is completely destroyed, giving it the nickname of a dead gun. Please pardon my German. Stortbaker is based on the story of a real guy. Maybe, probably, at least a legend. The dude was a German pirate who made a boatload of cash, literally, but was eventually caught and arrested. When he tried to bribe his way out of it, which was purportedly enough gold to completely surround the city of Hamburg, he was denied. When that deal was denied, he tried to make another deal, that the Senate would pardon as many of his crew as he could get up and walk past after his head was cut off, which they agreed. He got his head cut off, he stood up and walked past 11 of his crewmates, which then the executioner stuck his foot out and just tripped him. This is reflecting the lore of the mech, that despite the mech making some pretty good success, and the company that designed it honestly was in a pretty good state, they were really fucked over a whole lot, and then the mech company itself, Anton Industries, got completely cannibalized by ISPN Northstar. I'll be completely honest, there isn't a lot about the Tortuga, but do you like Armored Core? Well, good news, Catalytic Hammer is just the pile bunker. Happy to let you know that. Now, the Vlad's inspiration is pretty obvious, but there's actually a really hidden one here. In the flavor text, they mention, now, you liked my German before, pardon my Korean, Yi Sun-shin, a Korean admiral who's considered to be one of the best naval commanders in history. Like, go read up on this dude. He's an actual legend. It's fucking awesome. So, when it comes to the Vlad, we gotta look at the part where it's very clear they got the inspiration from. The turtle ship, which was built in the 15th century. As you can see, this is a ship, but it's covered in spikes. That way, people couldn't board it, on account of, you know, they'd get stabbed. Also, in a really fascinating bit, at least I think this is really interesting, just discovering this. This is actually a really early form of, the ironclads. This was built in, the 15th century, the end of the 1500s. And for those who don't know, the ironclads, which was a really major advancement in, naval technology, were built in the 1800s, the later end of that. This is a massive advancement. Holy shit, this is very cool. And, the turtle ship led to a bunch of key victories against the Japanese Navy. This isn't something to sneeze at. Like I said, go look into this guy. The history is very cool, and go learn about it from someone who's more actually knowledgeable about Korean history than I am. Now, the easy fact about the Caliban is that despite its size, it can inflict crazy high knockback against even the largest mechs. But here's a goofy one. So, it's a cool shotgun. The HHS-155 Cannibal is so high-powered, even ejecting its shells is dangerous. Unarmored friendlies are noted to steer clear of it because it ejects these shells with such force. Unarmored friendlies are prone to get decapitated by the sheer force of these shells. Now, the Zhang is actually a Rayleigh that has been completely retrofitted to instead be a pure melee mech. Now, this is a fact that would normally depress me, because I am a huge Rayleigh simp. That's my favorite mech of all time. How could you do that to my baby boy? But, however, the actual story of the Zhang is absolutely so badass that I'm okay with it, to be completely honest. And to be fair, the story of Zhang Jiaoli is a pretty sick one. Basically, the entire mech is shaped around her story, and it's actually sick. Just go read it on CompCon. Much like its namesake, there are rumors that deep in the code base of the Kid frame, there are clues leading to asteroids that have long hidden treasure caches hidden by the mech's paranoid creator. This is a rumor that North Star has done their absolute damnedest to squash, but it really hasn't stopped Lancers from poking around in their files anyways. I am going to combine the Black Witch and the Orcus here, since the major fact about both of them is their really big major ties to the Karakin Trade Baronies faction, which both frames are like their main bulk of the fighting force. The real difference is just who gains both of them, as the Black Witch is given to more like nobles, personal guards, officers, and the higher-ups kind of deal, while the Orcus, its variant frame, is given to like the main bulk of the fighting force, though still having its own like noble culture, as it's also passed down, and as you can see in like the art of it, it also has very noble regalia and like heraldry all over it. The Death's Head is all about battlefield analysis, so precognition is its game. Highly experimental precognition, as in the designers don't even fully get how it works. But it does allow pilots to get info and act on it before they're even fully aware of it. Like through these little special tracer rounds that actually hold like tiny little drones that after shooting their target, they upload a live firing data of the target. So then, you know, you can get better battlefield data of the guy you're trying to kill, which is, I don't know, just kind of fun. The Duskwing is honestly one of the best frames to read through casually, mainly because it's my favorite genre of CompCon mech, which is the one where all of its license levels are just telling you a story. It's telling you the story of a person going through the absolute horrifying experience of a Metavolt expedition. What is a Metavolt? Well, it's a spot in real space that has direct physical access to blink space, which is bad. Pretty bad. And it has a cascading NHP in it, so reality doesn't make sense, and this is bad. There's been 3 known metavolts that have been explored and found, and this specific one was pretty rough. I guess other fun fact, this metavolt that they got the Duskwing's information from, they also were used to make the Morning Cloak, which I'll talk about later. Now, despite being an incredibly basic, just military combat mech, the Metal Mark apparently has an incredibly comfy chair. Like, literally, there wasn't anything else I found interesting about the Metal Mark. But it's mentioned that it's comfy, and the chair's gimbal mounted. I don't know how many of you have worked with gimbal mounted, like, tripods and camera mounts. I have. I thought that was really funny. It's the only Lancer mech that I know that is specifically said to be comfortable. Therefore, you've heard it here first, folks. The Metal Mark is the comfiest mech. Now, the Monarch is personally one of my least favorite mechs. I'm not a big fan of it. I'm not a big fan of big missile mechs. Not my vibe. So it does hurt me to say this, but according to Smith Shimano, the Monarch is just so objectively good at its job of killing people that they have to artificially pull back its production so it doesn't just become the most dominant mech on the battlefield. This, by the way, is coming at you in a universe that is post-scarcity, at least in the core world, so they do this purely artificially. If they wanted to, they can make as many Monarchs as they wanted. So there. This is directed at one person in particular. You know who you are. You win. I guess the Monarch, from a lore standpoint, I have to admit, is the best mech in the game. And as well, on a completely unrelated note to my audience, you should go support Eldritch Osiris Games, especially their Project Mech Finder. The shit rules, and also their team behind it is absolutely fantastic, and I love them to pieces. Conversely, the Viceroy is kind of like the opposite. It's a scaled down version of the Monarch that's more aimed to be rolled out on the same scale as like the Harrison Armory's Sherman, which is a very standard template soldier mech. The Morning Cloak really is just a medical experiment mech when you get down to it. Almost every license level has some form mention that Smith Shimano is still figuring out what effect this piece of technology has on the human body. Please check in with your doctor every once in a while. Like, it's everything. It's also made with that same Metavolt data as I told you about earlier before. Also, the Firmament, which, by the way, what is the Firmament? Well, it's kinda the Blink Space, but maybe different. It's theorized to be the Blink Space, but specifically a group known as the On, which is like another group faction of humans. They have a deeper, more spiritual tie to it and can specifically use it to some greater extents, which with how the Morning Cloak can utilize it, it can almost like be physically wrapped in paracausality that lets it go invisible, which does mean as a pilot you are physically being touched by raw paracausality, so yeah, you really should go do your checkups. It's pretty important. The NHP for the Swallowtail is considered to be one of the best tactical support NHPs out there, mainly due to how much information it's just able to get with its absolute unlimited knowledge to the OmniNet, something that I feel like in any other setting would be scary information to learn, but apparently here it's a-okay and cool. It also can get signals from nearby lancers, system relays, and its own hacking of enemy systems, which lets it create a perfect 3D environment of the battlefield to predict its own events. I gotta say, damn, this was me doing my absolute best to make a fact that wasn't just the exact same shit as the Death's Head, because it's just another precognition sniper. Speaking of, the Swallowtail Ranger is much crazier, though it's just really unable to be printed, really. This is a mech that's designed to be like a reward for a very specific campaign book, because these Ranger variants were made in like guerrilla combat, so they are custom made for the environment that they're in, and are, you know, in situations where resources aren't really available and people don't have printers. The White Witch is another frame like the Duskwing I adore because the entire license is just a story. It's the greatest, go read it. This time, it is the story of the mech designers coming up with the concept for the thing, and I gotta say, the concept is a little terrifying. The White Witch is able to take in material, be it organic or inorganic, turn it into weapons or armor, which, by the way, the story touches on the idea of, yeah, that is scary. Also, yeah, what does happen if a human gets touched by that? And then it also touches on the concept of, you know, selling that to the corporation and trying to market it. It's a cool little story. Now, I could not track this down like an actual source for this, so please correct me if I'm wrong here. Someone who is actually like around at this point. But the Emperor's whole thing is like divine rule and very like religious. So its lore leans really heavily into spirituality. So intermixed in its flavor text are these fake Bible verses from like a fake holy book. Now, from what I could find, I saw mentions that originally in the playtest, it actually used mentions and excerpts from the Quran, which I thought is interesting. I can understand why they wouldn't have that in like its official release now, but I could not track down a playtest of it because it seems like the playtest is completely deleted and no one was posting a copy, so sorry if that one's not right. Now, the Atlas mech is a power suit that comes with a literal martial art tied to it. Now, this is a martial art that you really, really should learn if you pilot an Atlas, because if you don't, you will injure yourself, because the suit itself is printed with the fighting style, like, baked into it, because it is both a method to fight big-ass kaiju, and is a method for, like, the most common pilots for the Atlas are the Spari people, and it is a method they use to keep more in tune with, like, their ancestors who come before them, who are also Atlas pilots, which the Jaeger word that I'm going to avoid saying, because if I mispronounce that, I'm worried YouTube will kill my video. Yeah. Okay, the Jaeger. Specifically, it's baked into a martial art, and the Atlas will actually make its own movements, which, you know, if you don't know the movements, and you're trying to fight something, and then it just bends your arm the other direction, that sounds like a recipe for some broken limbs, and maybe, you know, you dying or something. Now, it actually does have a Mark II, which is even more advanced, even stronger, pretty scary stuff, mainly because Smith Shimano won't even give you the license for this unless you can prove that you have mastered this martial arts, because if you are not a master, you will most likely just kill yourself in the process of piloting an Atlas. But yeah, that's it. You know, part 2 is going to be Horus and Harrison Armory. That should come next video upload, which should be, you know, Monday. So if you like this, like, comment, subscribe, join my membership, and see ya.
True.
I was as sick of the triple support meta as I am, because I am 100% over it. So what I decided to do was compile a bunch of strategies and character selections that I've been using over the past few weeks and put them together on a list and just give it to you guys so that you guys can also combat this insanely oppressive meta that I'm 100% not a fan of. So if you learn anything new here, or if you just enjoyed the video in general, liking the video helps. Channel helps me out even more. We're really small fish in this giant Marvel Rivals pond, and we're just trying our best out here. So for my first tip for you guys is going to be for my diamond and above gamers, where bans apply in every match. And I highly recommend banning Cloak and Dagger right at the beginning of every match. The reason why I say that is because her ult generation is so high and so quick that they get their ult basically every single fight. Whereas for Luna or Mantis, it takes a little bit, but their ult is still just as strong. And for a character like Cloak and Dagger, they're not banned as often as Luna, so even the enemy team might ban Luna at the beginning, so then 2 healers are already out of the picture, and from there on, you have so many less healing options that honestly, the game kind of opens up in itself. Now, I know that banning that character kind of leads to less characters being able to be banned for other selections. Like, I know that you could also not ban Storm, Wolverine, Banner, whatever. I know that those are all popular picks, but I'm telling you guys, I would rather go into a match where the damage is oppressive rather than a match where I just can't even fight anything because the heals are oppressive. That's just my personal opinion. I don't know if you guys agree or not, but for me, I can't do that triple support meta for too long anymore. I'm kind of over it. So for me, this is something that I've been doing, and it's really helped me out a lot. Let me know if this works for you guys in the comments below. The next tip I wanted to give was play Moon Knight. Honestly, he's my main, and I know a lot of you guys are going to complain. This is for all ranks, by the way. A lot of people are going to complain, be like, oh, Moon Knight's a really low skill floor. Yeah, he is. He's my main. I love him, but I can't deny that he is a very low skill floor. He's very easy to use, and once you master him, he becomes absolutely oppressive, especially in lower ranks. So what you can do is you can find those healers that are targeted by themselves in the back, and you could just take them out before the fight even begins. And boom, there you go. You win a match because you're on Moon Knight. I know you can do that with a lot of characters. Like, I know you can do that with Psylocke or even a few other flankers like Spider-Man, Black Panther. But honestly, I find Moon Knight to be the best one because of his just immense amount of crowd damage that he can do when you're stacked up as well. And also his ult gen is insane as well. And his ultimate is strong and really oppressive as well. Not only can you just do insane amounts of damage if you throw an onk at an enemy's feet and just blast your damage on them, but you can do insane amounts of damage through enemy support ults as well if you ultimate as well. your ultimate is an insanely strong, and in my opinion, look, I am a Moon Knight main, but his ult is incredibly overperforming. I can't even deny that. If you have a Groot on your team, and if you're communicating with your Groot gets a fat ultimate where everybody's clumped up at once, you hit your Moon Knight ultimate, nothing's surviving that. Literally nothing is surviving that if you hit it right away at the same time. So use Moon Knight. He is a great way to counter this triple support meta, and he is a great way to just be able to do insane amounts of damage. That way your enemies can't even heal through it. It's amazing, and I love him, and he's 100% the reason why I've been actually be able to be semi-sane during this meta. Now, my next pick is going to be a slightly controversial one, I believe, but I stand by it. And I say play Iron Man and use Iron Man, even for you higher elo gamers that have Bruce Banner banned. I highly recommend still using him because his ultimate still goes through any of the support ultimates, and you could just absolutely wipe the floor with them because of that. You don't need to get 6-man ultimates every time you use Iron Man's ultimate. Like, you don't need to be like, Jarvis, clip that right away. But I'm telling you guys, if you go for a support in the backline with his ultimate, and if they ultimate on top of that, every single ult gets canceled and destroyed by his ultimate. Every single support ult does. Luna's does, Mantis's does, Cloak and Daggers does, Invisible Woman, they all get canceled and destroyed because of Iron Man's ultimate. So that's why I've been using him a lot in these lobbies. I play in Grandmaster right now, and I've been using Iron Man every once in a while, and he's really good for stuff like that. The only counters that I do want to say, though, because I do want to, I don't want to just give you advice and then just like not tell you the downsides of it, because when you get to those higher elos, people are going to be able to shoot you out of the sky a lot easier than in those small, like lower ranks like bronze, silver, gold. So I do want to say, play with your team, play smart, don't be, stupid with him. And also, when you do get ready to ultimate with Iron Man, 2 things I want you to consider are, if they have a Loki, make sure they've used their immunity, the lamps that go above their heads. If you use your ultimate and then the Loki does that, well, I'm sorry, you just wasted your ultimate. So make sure your enemy's Loki has used their immunity. And then also, if you're fighting a Cloak and Dagger, make sure that Cloak isn't out, because if they use their Cloak ability on their teammates, well, again, I'm sorry, you just wasted an ult, because the enemy's Cloak just cloaked the entire team and they just got out of that situation. So make sure you're smart about your Iron Man ultimates. I definitely recommend him. I'm not just telling you guys that just to steer you wrong. He is a great pick to this meta as well. And I know that this next one is incredibly cliche, and I say this on basically every single one of my rank up videos, like, hey, you want to rank up, do this. But guys, I'm telling you, if you communicate with your teammates, it makes things 30 times easier. If you see a support that's out of position, which happens very often, because they're in the back of the team, they don't really feel like they need decent positioning. So say they're a little bit too out from behind their team, you can either A, punish them and get them from 100 to 0 health in 2 seconds, or if you punish them and try and put pressure on them, maybe they panic support ult in a situation that really doesn't warrant for it, and then you win the next team fight because they don't have a support ult ready to go. So my best advice is to communicate with your team. If you see an enemy that is out of position, tell your team, be like, hey, this person's out of position, I'm going for them. Try and distract this person, or try and dive with me. Just small things like that. The more you communicate with your team, I'm telling you guys, the more likely you are to win matches. I know that's not going to happen every time. I know that there are going to be these lobbies where you're in bronze, silver, gold. Hell, I even get them in GM, where you just have unwinnable teammates, where I'm just like, how have you even mustered up the capacity to load up this game? How have you even gotten this far in life? Trust me, I get it, and I understand. I have these types of teammates all the time. But I'm telling you, there are winnable matches that you guys lose, and I lose as well, because I just don't communicate with my teammates, and you guys don't communicate with your teammates. I'm telling you guys, it happens more often than you might think. If you guys just turn on that mic and you talk to your teammates, be like, hey, I'm going for this person, or you're going for this person, or just do decent call outs like that, I'm telling you guys, you can bump that win rate average up significantly. It is a must do. I definitely recommend just talk to your teammates a little bit. I can't stress that enough. And then my last pick is going to be a character pick, and it's going to be Wolverine. And you're not really going to be fighting the supports with Wolverine right away, at least. You're going to be fighting the enemy tanks, because Wolverine absolutely shreds tanks' health bars because his damage is based off of health percentage. So what you want to do is you just want to communicate with your teammates, your healers, and be like, hey, I'm going in for this tank. If you can just pocket me for a little bit, I can take this out. So what you do as your Wolverine is you just put so much pressure on your enemy's tanks, and from there your enemy's supports are either going to do one of two things. Either they're going to let that tank just fall and just become deceased, or they're going to pocket the hell out of him. And either way, that is a win-win situation for Wolverines, because what you're doing is you're taking the tank out of the fight, and then say the supports join in on that fight and pocket their tank, then the supports are not following the other players on the team, like the other DPS. So that lets the rest of your team come in for the win and take out the other DPS. And before you know it, you're up in numbers, and then you just win that fight. So guys, Wolverine is a great pick. I highly recommend learning him. Best way I can tell you guys is I have been lurking in like team captain streams, and my goodness, I definitely recommend just watching him for a little bit. It'll make Wolverine just click in your guys' head. Like, trust me. It will just make it work. I promise you guys. So Wolverine is definitely a pick. As far as the 3 character picks that I've given you guys for this meta, is going to be Moon Knight, Wolverine, and Iron Man. And guys, I stand by every single one of those. There are a few other characters that could work. Him. Best way I can tell you guys is I have been lurking in like team captain streams, and my goodness, I definitely recommend just watching him for a little bit. It'll make Wolverine just click.
Okay, cool. Fuck it. I have no idea who this is. Oh, I've watched a video of his before. Rank 1 Wolverine.
The top ranked lobbies in Marvel Rivals right now either have a Wolverine in them, or he's getting banned so they don't have to deal with it. So I took the time to watch a bunch of their games and learn what's making Wolverine such a problem for them. And I've learned an absolute ton about this character. I'm going to go over everything you need to know about Wolverine, and I'm going to do it as quick as possible because you guys know I don't like to waste your guys' time. So let's jump right into this, but before I do, I quickly ask if you could leave a like on this video. I want to try and get this video to 1,000 likes, so if you guys do, thank you so much. Anyways, let's begin with the most important piece of information I can give you about Wolverine, and it's so important. It's the first thing I want to teach you. Wolverine is a tank buster. You may have already heard that by now, but if you haven't, let me explain what that means and why he is. Wolverine's main and pretty much only job is to completely disrupt the other team's front line. The reason for this is because Wolverine's main attack, Savage Claws, does more damage the larger the target's max health is. So basically, Wolverine was made to target tanks. The top ranked players aren't just targeting tanks to pull them away from their team. They're doing it because it's literally how you do more damage on this character. If you've played Wolverine before and targeted enemies that weren't tanks, so like a DPS or a support, you've probably thought that he was ass, because honestly his base damage really is terrible against them, and that's just because his whole kit was made to kill tanks. So now that you understand your role in Wolverine, let me teach you some combos and explain your playstyle. Because honestly, while he's good at taking out tanks, he's still pretty situational. The way you want to be playing him is like an assassin. You're kind of standing on the side or behind, waiting for tanks to push up, and the second they creep up too far, you dash and pull them away from their team. Your biggest counter to this is Magneto, especially if they have 2 tanks. Magneto will either bubble himself if you take him, or bubble the other tank. This is what makes Wolverine situational, and he can be countered. If you can't get good damage or picks out of your pulls, you're not doing much on this character. Your main target is going to be Doctor Strange, because you're going to see him so much, and especially in lower elo, when you pull a Doctor Strange away from his team, his first reaction will be to shield, but you can melee straight through the shield, so that won't matter. And if you get Feral Leap off on him, you'll get an insane amount of damage on him. The problem is when you play a smart Doctor Strange, they'll just fly away from you, but at least you put them on a cooldown and got some pretty decent damage out of it. Notice how in this clip, one of the best Wolverine players in the world right now is just standing here, and he's waiting for his opportunity. The second he gets it, he takes the tank deep into his team and they get the pick off of it. Now that you understand your role and how to do it, let me teach you some combos. First, there's one passive ability you need to understand on this character. It's called Berserker Rage. This is the bar that you see see on screen at all times when you're playing as Wolverine. This bar is how you stack extra damage and extra health. So this bar builds up anytime that you do damage on Wolverine or you take damage as him. The numbers are all different, so here's a quick breakdown on the numbers. The max rage you can build up is obviously 100. The build for Savage Claws, which is your main attack, is 7 per hit. For Vicious Rampage, it's 20. For Feral Leap, it's 20. For your ult Last Stand, it builds 25. And for each time you get hit, it builds 3. And this combo that I'm about to show you will instantly stack 40 towards this passive, giving you way more damage. For this combo, let me start by teaching you your main ability on Wolverine, which is called Feral Leap. This is how you get kills on enemies and how you pull them away from their team. This ability is so strong, it will give you the ability to kill lower is that your attack speed is sent through the roof with this. The Berserk Claw Strike will last for 4 seconds. This available, and this will give you a nice movement ability. Any enemy you land this on should pretty much die, and this works extreme and then hit a Feral Leap. So and is enhanced by the target's max HP, which that alone will pretty much tell you this isn't used for damage. This is your movement ability or your opener to your combo. You can also use this to close the distance in between you and the enemy you're trying to hit. But this works well with the combo, since to pull enemies easily, we can start with this and then hit a Feral Leap. So for this combo, we just use Vicious Rampage and then Feral Leap, and it will look like this. This will stack 40 points towards your Berserk Rage, and it will give you a nice damage buff. It will also trigger Berserker Claw Strike, and any enemy you land this on should pretty much die, and this works extremely well in tanks. The problem is getting this to work at first can get some getting used to, and pulling them in the correct way will also need some skill. Also, you're a huge target as soon as you land with this. So let's talk about your last ability, Undying Animal. This lets you briefly reduce your incoming damage, and it gives you a 50% damage reduction. It's a launcher that launches enemies up in the air, and as soon as you land with them, you do 50 damage on impact. It's not the most crazy ult, but it does have some kill potential. For majority of the highest elo players, I saw them using this ult to kill the supports in the back, or they would just dive into the middle of the team and use this. This is a special ult and should be used when you feel it's best, but don't try to kill their whole team with it, just look to get your pick out of it. The final thing I want to talk about here is Hulk's team up. This allows Hulk to throw Wolverine. I'm not sure how good this is because I've only seen it used for
Nobody ever does it. It's actually so fucking good. It's so annoying. Alright, let's watch Team Captain. Let's see how good this dickhead is. Real.
Oh my god. Do we get the Wolverine 1v1? I'm down to play Wolverine on time.
That's all you're getting.
I just made a second channel for those of you that are interested in full gameplay vids, which will be uploading daily. So if that's something that interests you guys, go check it out. Make sure to subscribe. Thank you. It's time. Finally got a game on Wolverine. Let's see it, your cord versus Team Captain. Who takes the money? Who takes the prize home? You know, if he wins this, he'll call himself the #1 Wolverine. Can't let it happen. Can't let it happen, man.
That's not great. Try to focus the Wolverine.
One. Go shoot.
Still the best at what you do, Logan.
You go point. PP1.
Looks like the mission area is yours to capture now.
I have soul tank range, so I need to peel for him.
Play with Bob, by the way.
Wolverine.
I pulled him. Salom's gonna...
They're not doing anything.
Backing up a little bit.
I am ready
Just play
to
point.
Bring on the
Shoot.
I am ready to put on a show. Shield up.
They're down in one support. We'll keep trying to go.
He captured more than
Oh my god. I pulled Luna. Wolverine's in there, yeah.
Nice. He's going crazy. Fringe can die. Fringe.
Psylocke thought got cancelled their Wolverine.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, damn.
Nice.
Good pulls and good heals.
Queen first round. Now, this is the map that matters, chat. This is the map that matters. I'm the only guy that made Wolverine popular. I'm not bullying. Guys, I need my rank. I'm tryharding, bro. Also, I'm defending my Wolverine stats. Because it needs to be higher than Super TF. That's why, okay? It needs to be higher than Super. It's important.
Yeah, though. That's my boy. That's my dog.
Your powers I am ready to put on a show. Circulation area is yours to capture now. Shield.
Fuck the map. What the fuck?
We have no heals.
I am ready to put on a show.
Fine by me.
I'm behind them.
Some extra healing never hurt.
I'm walking point. What? I just took me out of my grab. Upper bucket. Holy shit. I'm just getting melted now. Oh, Wolverine.
Looking.
You're shielded.
They've almost got it.
Your
powers are mine. I am ready to put on a show.
Let's do this.
I am ready to put on a show.
Cool. Fringe. They don't have any ult.
You'll have to keep fighting until we have.
It's actually just win out.
Like, help me with healing.
We're all so fucking these guys. What? What? He's fucking moved to the.
Don't see that.
We did not need strange ult there, brother.
What? It was
Bro,
lucky.
No, we didn't need
what
strange
happened
ult
there? Can someone explain?
It's
I've never seen anyone like move to the right and out, or move to the left even. I'm aura farming with the ult.
Oh, I got grabbed.
A little help, please.
I unleash the...
That was such a bad ult. Wolverine.
Just who I was looking for.
Wolverine 1. One top. I'm going for mag. Fuck. Wolverine. Nice.
Back you up, man.
We kill him. He's hit me, but I'm just gonna go back. I'm good.
Keep going.
Just on our wall. I need help.
Bucky.
I just got back.
I get strange again. What is this fucking Wolverine on ping, I swear. So janky, bro. So janky.
I'm gonna end this on point. Come.
Shields up.
Wolverine's going on top.
I am ready to put on a show.
Endless fury. Coming at you.
I'm done. This shit is so ass on ping. It just doesn't work at all. It just doesn't work, man.
Wolverine no passive, guys. Nice. Only lucky heals. So. No more Bucky.
Nice. Such a good dude.
Psylocke. There's one.
Yeah, he's still one. Bro, he's so ass on ping, man. It's so fucking ass.
Nice kill, Lucky.
I'm coming here now.
Nice.
I am ready to put on a show.
Nice. Go put.
Another epic victory.
GG though.
Damn, he really did keep it all over.
Oh shit. For the MVP. Oh wait, the rematch? Oh my god. 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 This is unreal.
One will not stay down. Yeah, get his ass.
I got fucking jump scared.
You good?
Yeah, I got jump scared.
Okay, inside. I'm hooked by Bucky. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good.
Wolverine then, Wolverine.
Oh, he's dead.
He's one.
Come on, back on.
Hey, I'll get me.
Back on, Chad.
Locked on.
Strange has no fight, he has no fight.
Right.
Yeah, that's what you have to go. You have to
Big
go.
one.
You shoot. Come on, Invis.
I'm gonna post the.
I don't care.
Oh.
Yeah, we
I'm
won
dead.
that. Get knocked.
I'm good.
Okay, I don't know where Wolverine is. I got it back. Look. All right, Spidey.
Cooldowns.
That's unfortunate. It's fine. We can still win. We can still win.
I'll be back.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Wolverine on the
Watch
left.
Wolverine top left. Watch Wolverine top left.
Come on, come on.
I need help. I'm gonna get grabbed. I need help.
I'm at 92.
Grab me, I think.
Oh.
98.
Upper Wolverine.
Fuck! Yes!
One inside.
Close the path.
Look at Hulk. Wolverine left.
Hey,
Wolverine on me.
Double back. Wolverine is behind us.
That's disgusting. That is disgusting what just happened to me.
Yeah.
Wolverine's still behind. I don't want to live.
Hog. Nice.
Wolverine.
Hog one.
Look at him.
Go Bucky.
Oh,
Go,
Wolverine.
Wolf.
I need help.
He's one.
Bucky one.
Strange dies. Strange.
Bucky actually won. Wait.
Phase one.
There's one.
Phase actually won.
I got him.
No
Wolverine
passive.
no passive.
Yeah, Wolverine dies. Wolverine. One.
Wolverine. I can't help you.
Hulk. What the fuck?
Hulk one.
Go, man. Let's go.
High ground.
I need him one.
Bro, he does it better than Necro. Just
Trader's
I
top
swear
left.
to God.
Top left. Go on train.
I'm on him.
He's full now.
I got him.
Oh, yeah.
That's good shot.
Nice. Oh, I can't save you, bro.
They have two support. Because they start from French.
Oh.
I should have seen that coming when he was
I'm looking at that point with that point. I
Good
can
that point.
Do I portal back? I can portal back. Ready? Get in there.
Go.
I'm on him.
What? Oh.
My fucking Wolverine's on me.
I have to wait that out.
Invis one. Fuck. Yo, short of FTK. Thanks to the Prime. Thank you.
I'm on it.
I had to go for it, otherwise I just die.
Yeah, bubble. They use bubble.
Wolverine. Oh, sell.
Oh
My, I totally meant to grab her. I fully meant to grab that silo.
They're all blind.
They have no support on push.
There you go. Wolverine. Watch passive on Wolverine. Oh, there you can grab it. Let's grab him.
Yo, we got it.
Carry me.
Magno bubble.
Move no pass.
I'm gonna
I need
move
help.
Mag. Trust. Mag.
Oh, yeah, Wolverine.
Back on top.
I see. I need care. Silent on me.
Yeah, I'm on silent.
Help Bucky.
Hook one.
Nice. Good shit, guys.
Is 0. 2.
Not bad.
Force them back a little bit.
Cloak, no fade. Wolverine's main.
I got Bucky. On me. Kill Bucky.
Bucky.
Yeah, you thought you were bringing me in? I'm bringing you in, bitch.
Wolverine. I can bubble you in a second. Hey, come on.
I'm on for Mag.
Yeah, go.
Oh fuck,
Come on, Magneto low.
Kill him. He dies.
Look at
He's
the
one.
Wolverine.
Wait, Wolverine.
Mantis one. No.
This one.
No.
Once we're in front of the kid, that's my bad. You're right.
I grab.
I should be a better role model. You're right.
I should have ults for their.
I can boop him maybe.
Just who I was looking for.
Wolverine. So. We get him.
You're a better father. I'm not his father.
Wolverine's up.
Right, let's calm down. No hook on Bucky.
I'm sleeping. Wolverine's gonna grab me.
I got Bucky.
He's right side. Wolverine right side. Wolverine right side.
Coming.
Wolverine,
Yeah,
he's
he's
running
one.
at me right now.
Nice.
Nope. Bubble.
There's a light bubble on high ground.
No, he's gonna grab me, I think. Okay. Hey, he's going for me. He missed.
Mike.
Get back.
I can also.
Do we cloak up? Okay.
Oh, you don't need too much.
What the fuck was that?
Now I go.
Where'd he go? What?
Won't be a sec.
Where'd he go?
I don't know, I go on actually. One Mantis.
Get ready.
That works.
Got it.
Fucker free.
He might have silent ult.
It's not like it's touching.
My backline?
I need help.
Invis on me. I'm gonna kill him.
Wolverine on me. I need Wolf help. Wolverine
I'm
on
on
me.
cold. I'm on cold.
84,
Yeah, we're
88,
Wolverine. Nice.
93,
Go cap.
95,
I can kill close.
Venom.
Good shit, kid. Nice. Good shit, guys.
Jeez, good job.
Spider-Man carry.
Easy money.
3, 2, 2.
GG.
The characters seem so easy. You just need to play more fucking games. Oh, there's a way to inflate my rank?
Today's topic is
Design versus lore on Lancerbacks.
Who's this guy?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to Wait. Pan, I'm Cal.
And I'm Sunny.
Oh, all my friends are gonna call. Well, I think I'm streaming to literally 0 people right now, which is something I've always hated.